Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Keisha. For those of you who are new here, I blog every day at kjaggers.com. The link is below. So I am back on this very chilly fall day to talk about some more of the travel tips from the travel series I have already started on my channel. So Scott and I traveled a lot in the beginning of our relationship. We lived at the airport, so we traveled nonstop for 2 years pretty much. And I think we learned quite a bit, about what works, what doesn't, but things have changed a little bit since, we did that. And airport safety has changed, lots of things have happened. And so, I hope these tips that I'm sharing today with you guys will help you with your holiday travels. We all fly, or many of us fly, and hopefully some of these tips might stick in your head and, make your life a little bit easier, because it can be the best or worst experience depending on your flight. And so it's best to travel smart and travel safe. And when I think about all the times we were living at the airport, and go back to those times, there's so many things I would have done different during the beginning part. I caught on kind of in the middle, but during the beginning, I'm running in heels through the airport trying to catch connecting flights, and I was eating a lot of airport food, which can be odd, and we were getting, a lot of upgrades to different, like business class or first class from our points that we were building up. But it was, a long learning experience of flying basically every week for a couple years. So one thing that I recommend is checking in ahead of time. Now, I remember checking in at the counter like so many of us do. You don't have to do that any longer. You can do it online before you even head to the airport, and you can just go through security, which is amazing because they didn't offer that to us, quite a few years ago. So now you guys have the opportunity to check in long before you get to the airport. It bypasses all the lines. It's so worth it. It's very worth it to download the app for whatever airline that you're traveling. You'll be able to check your check-in status. You'll be able to upgrade. You'll see if things are running on time. You'll get reminders. And it even allows you on most of them to save your, I wish I had my phone here. I do. You could save your boarding pass right to your phone. So when you get through security and you're up at the gate, you can just show them your phone or the boarding pass on your phone. They scan it. You're good to go. You don't even need a paper copy anymore, which is freaking amazing. So definitely always get the app that you're going to be using, or the airline you're going to be using, so you can check what's going on and keep yourself informed of what's going on. Also, Passbook, which is another app, allows you to store your passport in your phone. Again, that was something that wasn't even heard of when Scott and I were flying and traveling every week. So just keep that in mind. That's a great backup, because if you take your passport with you and lose it, that's a problem. But if you have a copy stored in your phone, it could save you. So I highly recommend using that if you're going to be leaving the country. Carry-ons are best. We have had our luggage lost more than once. Fortunately, it's always been recovered and delivered to us by the airlines every single time it was lost, but that doesn't always happen. But carry-ons are best. Be sure to label everything. Don't just use those little paper tags. Those aren't really safe. They can be torn off. Make sure you have the proper kind of luggage tag on your luggage. It sounds remedial, but so many people don't do it. They just have those little paper ones, and those don't always hold up. So make sure you have a real, travel label on your suitcase. And remember, you want to keep it to around 40 pounds if it's going to go up above you in the airplane. You don't want it falling down and really hurting somebody. 40 pounds is about the right amount of weight that you can use to put something in the overhead. And when you're checking in, I always found that keeping your laptop, especially for me, as I travel everywhere with my laptop, accessible is very important. Now, usually I'll put everything in the scanner belt ahead of the laptop, such as my shoes, my purse, whatever, my carry-on. And as that's going through, at the end I put my laptop right when I'm walking through the gate, because I don't want my laptop loose down there at the end of the belt, the security belt, where you get your stuff scanned. I don't want that sitting down there where somebody else can just grab it. So I always time it when I walk through the gate. That laptop is going through the little area where they scan it. So keep your laptop out, keep it handy. I hate seeing people have to fumble through those big complicated bags. I don't use those bags. A lot of times it goes straight into a very accessible bag where I don't have to unzip and unlock and pull this tab to get my laptop out. So keep your laptop out, because it takes a while to get through this security, and you also don't want to hold the line up trying to get that laptop out of the bag, and you also don't want it going first and being down there while you're waiting on everything else. So be smart about how you travel with your electronics and laptops. So comfort and dressing for the airport is very important. As I said in the beginning, I was traveling with Scott, and we would come off the job at whatever dealership in our dress clothes, usually our heels and his dress clothes, and then we would rush around the airport in those very uncomfortable clothes, trying to make connecting flights or getting on the shuttle in time, and it just wore my feet out. And maybe that's why I love Nike so much now, because I wore heels for so many years, nonstop. But dress appropriately for the airport. Remember, when you are traveling, especially in airports and on airplanes, a lot of times there is water on the floors. I know a lot of people don't think about that, but it's true. So I always try to pull my pant leg up a little bit to walk into an airport bathroom, or if it's warm enough, maybe wear some capris or a skirt that is not going to hit the floor. When you travel in those long maxi skirts, you got to lift them up most of the time whenever you go to the airport bathroom or the airplane bathroom, because so many times the floor is wet and it just totally sucks. So dress for comfort and dress for security. Don't come through security with 20 different pieces of jewelry on and your keys and all that stuff in your pockets. Dress right. Dress for comfort, whatever that is for you or for your kids, and make sure that you can take things off in layers, which generally worked for me. I would wear maybe a sweater with a t-shirt underneath, and I would also take a sweater because I tend to get really cold on planes. But if I got warm, I could just peel one layer off, and it's so much easier. And I think it's important, especially on long flights, bring things to work on. For me, I'm editing videos, I am reading. Sometimes I can sleep on a plane. I got to be really tired to do that. But always bring stuff to do. And I think another very important tip is headphones. Sometimes you can buy them, cheap headphones, right there from, the stewardess on the plane. But those are cheap and they don't work that well. But nothing matters if you're sitting next to some stranger snoring more than getting some earphones in to help muffle out some of that sound or other sounds. So I highly recommend getting a good pair of earphones, loading up your phone with some music or your iPad or your iPod, and taking some sound with you. It will definitely help, especially even when you don't want to talk to somebody who's sitting next to me. Put the headphones in, you'll be good to go. On planes, normally you dehydrate. So make sure you stay hydrated. Generally, water is the best, but I usually drink ginger ale on planes. I just tend to always go for that. But you always do get dehydrated. So always keep that in mind, especially if you're going to be having an overnight type of flight. You might want some type of night cream that will rehydrate your skin. I always recommend taking my makeup wipes and some lotions and potions right there in my carry-on, so I can use them on long flights. I like an eye mask to cover up light if I do want to sleep during the day or night. I love those, and I love makeup removers so I can get off maybe some makeup and put on some night cream and some lip gloss. I always like to have those type of things handy because as you dehydrate, your skin will look, sunken in, and you won't look that good. So bring some really good face cream, maybe some plumping face cream, some very hydrating face cream, and some lip gloss and stuff to keep your face as hydrated as your body. Now, after a few hours, it's okay to move around on a plane. I know you're stuck in a tube with many, many people, but you're going to want to move around and circulate your blood and just kind of move. So, sometimes it's best to get an aisle seat if you're elderly. If you're a parent with children and know you're going to have to be getting in and out a lot, sometimes those seats are best for you. So keep that in mind when you're planning your ticket, that what kind of seat you will need. Now, when you're traveling with kids, which should be a whole different video, studies have shown sitting back at the back where the engine is has helped immensely. Number one, it's loud and young kids tend to like it. Babies fall asleep to it. Young kids kind of, are muffled out, so it's respectful to the other passengers, yet it keeps your kids calm. So I love the idea. Now, I don't travel a lot on plane with my kids yet, but and they're not young anymore. They wouldn't be crying and all that kind of stuff. But if you have young kids, sitting back by the engines is supposed to really help. And also bringing things like for each child. I wouldn't bring one box of crayons for 2 children. I would make sure each child has its own little bag of things to do, just like we need things to do. They need to be occupied too. So, put together a little package for them that has a lot of their favorite things to do: coloring books, crayons, puzzles, whatever, things your children like, maybe a stuffed animal, and bring those. Another thing that I did do with my kids a couple times when they did fly with me and I wanted them to behave, I got them on the plane, and once we got up in the air, I gave them a small little present that I've wrapped up just to say thank you for being good so far. Continue being good and we'll have a great time. They loved that. So little presents work great on little kids. So safety. Flying larger jets is the best because they have higher safety standards. They really, really do. Sometimes you'll be in those little commuter planes. I can't stand them. Fly the larger jets as much as you can. Now, also, nonstop flights are best. That's not always easy. Most of the time, we all have to get connecting flights to a different city. But when you can fly nonstop, do it. Do it every single time. Now, a big rule of thumb in the airline industry is +3 -8, which means the first 3 minutes of takeoff is the most dangerous, and the last 8 minutes of landing is the most dangerous. So be aware, keep your senses about you, and remember that takeoff, the first 3 minutes is the worst. Once you get through the first 3 minutes, it's usually smooth sailing. The last 8 minutes while they're descending and getting ready to land is the worst of the ending. So it's +3 -8. And keep that in mind because those are the most dangerous times in flying. Make sure that it's important that everything is pushed up, your seat trays, make sure your seatbelt's on, make sure you're secure in case something, God forbid, does go wrong. If something does go wrong, studies have shown you got about 90 seconds from the minute a plane crashes till you will die of smoke inhalation. No joke. So I think it's very important to do your best to sit within 3 rows of an exit to make sure you can get out of the plane, God willing, if it crashes within 90 seconds. So, I think right now in the time of 9/11 and Ebola and all kinds of things going on. You have to be very observant, and don't be afraid to speak up if you see something that alarms you or scares you. Do it respectfully. Be quiet about it. Don't scare the entire plane if you can avoid it. But go talk to your stewardess. Go make a point to, point out what you see or what you hear that might be bothering you. It could be nothing, but then again, it could be something. And I really think it's very, 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 very important to simply be nice. Be super nice to the stewardess. Be super nice to all the air attendants and flight attendants. I think stewardess is wrong. I'm sorry. And be nice. Be nice because you're in this tube with strangers. And you're going to have to be in that plane for a while. And being nice will get you so much more on a plane. Be aware of lice. That's another thing I want to talk about. There was tons of cases going around years ago where people were catching lice from the planes. I usually have Lysol. If you take a small enough bottle, and you can get the travel size, they can go right into your carry-on, and you can spray your seat before you get on. If you get on on time and there's nobody else in the aisle. If you don't, if there is people in your seats before we have asked if it was okay, and they got up and let us spray theirs too, because nobody wants to get lice or anything else from a seat. It's highly unlikely, but there were cases, so I definitely wanted to mention that before I end this video. But I've shown how I pack, and I've shown different travel tips here and there, and this one is very important in terms of flying. And I hope that you remember that it's very important to treat everyone with kindness. Don't scare people. Don't sneeze and say you got Ebola. Recently on the news, somebody did that and they were taken off and probably charged. Who knows what happened with that, but they did not have it. Don't go scaring people. That's just so disrespectful to do. If you have a concern about anything, be quiet about it and advise your flight attendants in a very nice way. Another thing that's important, in my opinion, is reading the safety info. I think it's just silly for all of us to get on planes all the time and hardly ever watch the flight attendant, tell you where the exits are, or read the little safety manuals. But I get bored on planes a lot, so I read just to read, and I like knowing that my cushion turns into a floating device if I'm flying above the ocean. I like the safety tips in the safety book, and it's important to read those. And it's also important to remember that it's not just you on that plane, there are other people, so use your manners. Don't be disgusting. Use deodorant. Yes, I'm saying that. Brush your teeth, use mouthwash. It matters because somebody else could, come sit next to you and they could be seriously gross. So take care in your appearance and how you look and how you are, because you are around other people. No one wants to sit next to, a nasty smelling or nasty breath passengers. So keep all that in mind. Be respectful and be kind. Being kind will get you so far. So I hope you've enjoyed these flying tips. I'll be back with hotel tips, I think, next. And if you have any questions or comments or any of your own airplane or airport travel tips, I would love to hear them in the comments below. Please have a beautiful and blessed day. Check out my corresponding blog post. All this will be typed out and it will be up when this video goes live. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys very, very soon. Stay warm on these very cool autumn days. Bye-bye.